Welcome to my YouTube channel. Top 10 Most Unique Looking Everyday Cars. There are a lot of unique looking cars out there, and some of them are even affordable, meaning you don't need a hypercar to stand out from the crowd. For the most part, automakers tend to stick to traditional styling for their vehicles, finding subtle ways to set them apart from the crowd. But every now and then, they like to go outside the box and design something so unique that it borders on strange. We decided to take a look at the top 10 most unique looking everyday cars, vehicles you will likely see on today's roads. They may not be pretty, but they are definitely different. 10. Range Rover Evoque Convertible. The Range Rover Evoque from Land Rover was a unique-looking crossover when it first debuted, and now Land Rover has made even its stranger by chopping off its roof. It will be interesting to see how the Range Rover Evoque convertible does on the market, considering another convertible crossover, the Nissan Murano Cross Cabriolet, wasn't exactly a hot seller. 9. Fiat 500X. The design of the standard Fiat 500 is iconic, and the 500X is trying to replicate those cute looks in a crossover format. The funky compact crossover might have Italian flair, and its quirky style isn't for everyone, but it does stand out from other cars in its segment. Last year, Fiat managed to sell 11,712 units in the US and 766 in Canada. Things aren't looking better this year, as only 3,980 units in the US and 786 in Canada have found new homes through June 2017. 8. Jeep Renegade. Although the Jeep Renegade's front end does feature the automaker's signature 7-slot grille, the rest of the compact crossover is quite unique to the brand. Sure, it has the same overall boxy profile we've come to expect, but it still has a special look that sets it apart. It's also quite the success on the market, with Jeep selling 106,606 units in the US last year, and 3,962 in Canada. Sales aren't slowing down either, as 53,027 Renegades have sold in the US through June 2017, along with 2,968 units in Canada. 7. Mini Clubman. For the most part, Mini models have pretty unique styling, but the Clubman takes it to another level. While the front end resembles other existing Mini models, its wagon body doesn't make the Clubman particularly mini. Last year, a total of 12,204 Clubmans were sold in the US, and through June 2017, the British automaker has sold 3,778 units in the US and 456 in Canada. 6. Volkswagen Beetle. Very few vehicles are as recognizable worldwide as the Volkswagen Beetle, and it's definitely one of the most unique-looking cars available today. The overall bubbly, round shape has defined the Beetle for generations and has helped it stand out from everything else on the market. With sales declining, however, the future of the Beetle is up in the air, according to the latest reports. Last year, Volkswagen sold 15,667 units in the US and 2,402 in Canada. Sales this year are on a similar pace, with 8,821 units sold in the US through June 2017, along with 1,773 units in Canada. 5. BMW i3. Considering it was built from the ground up to be an electric car, it's little surprise the BMW i3 doesn't look like a conventional car. But unlike the BMW i8 that looks like a proper supercar, the i3 is a bit oddly shaped with a fairly unique front end, especially compared to the rest of the German automakers' lineup. In the US, a total of 7,625 BMW i3s sold last year, and so far through June 2017, it has managed to move 2,992 off dealership lots. Unfortunately, BMW Canada bundles the i3 and i8 sales figures together, so it's unclear how well the BMW i3 is doing in Canada. 4. Kia Soul. There was a time the funky, boxy Kia Soul had competition with the Scion XB and the Nissan Cube. But now the Scion brand is completely dead, and Nissan has cut the Cube from its lineup, leaving the Soul by its lonesome, unless you consider the Jeep Renegade its competition. The unique-looking crossover continues to do well for Kia, selling a total of 145,768 units last year in the US and 12,672 in Canada. Through June 2017, sales have slowed a bit, with 53,116 units sold in the US and 5,312 in Canada. 3. Hyundai Veloster. Hyundai's compact hatch has always been considered unique ever since its debut. With a low roofline, a sculpted front end, pronounced fenders, and the asymmetrical design, the Veloster is unlike any other hatchback offered today. Hot hatch fans can look forward to the Veloster N model, that's set to eventually arrive in the US. Last year, the Korean automaker sold 30,053 units in the US and 1,831 units in Canada. This year, however, things aren't as bright for the Veloster, with 7,992 units sold in the US through June and 1,829 in Canada. 2. Toyota Cehra. The Toyota Cehra started its life as a Scion model, giving the youth-oriented brand a funky crossover. But Toyota decided to axe the Scion brand, and now the automaker has the crossover all to itself. With its sporty stance and funky overall design, it stands out in a segment that's full of jelly bean-shaped subcompact crossovers. Introduced earlier this year, the Cehra has sold 5,498 units through June 2017 in the US and 1,331 in Canada. 1. Nissan Juke. It almost seems like all the unique-looking crossovers available today are trying to target the Nissan Juke, arguably the original funky crossover. Some might think this is the ugliest Cov available, while others love its weirdness, but it is definitely unique either way. It appears the Juke could be losing ground to its competition, with the company selling 19,577 units in the US last year and 4,442 in Canada. Through June 2017, 7,245 Jukes have been sold in the US and 1,370 in Canada. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.